My name is Emily Parker, and this is the story of how I lost everything. I wasn't always the kind of woman who kept secrets. I wasn't someone who believed in betrayal or hurting people who trusted me. But somewhere along the way, things changed. I changed. I didn't recognize it at first. The loneliness crept in slowly, like fog rolling across the ocean. Quiet, unnoticeable. And then one day, I realized I was drowning in it. My husband, Jacob, and I had been married for 12 years. We met during our last year of college. He was studying pre-med, I was in communications. He was handsome, driven, and made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. When he proposed, I didn't even hesitate. The early years were beautiful. We traveled. We laughed. We grew together. But as time passed and responsibilities piled up, something changed. Jacob became a surgeon, one of the best in the city. His hours were grueling, and when he came home, he was exhausted. I understood, or at least I told myself I did. I stayed supportive, loyal, doing everything I could to be the kind of wife he needed. But in the quiet moments, after the house was clean, after the dishes were done, I would sit in our living room and stare at the walls, feeling like I didn't exist. I worked in marketing. It wasn't my dream job, but it paid well and gave me structure. Most days were uneventful: emails, meetings, campaigns. That all changed when Nathan Carter joined the firm. He was brought in as a creative director. Young, confident, and endlessly charismatic. He had an easy charm about him, the kind that made people laugh effortlessly. I noticed the way the younger women in the office looked at him. I told myself I was too old to fall for that kind of thing. But Nathan wasn't just charming. He was observant. He noticed when I wore a new blouse. He remembered the little things I said. He'd bring me coffee without asking, and he always made sure to smile in a way that made my stomach flutter. At first, I chalked it up to harmless flirting. I'd come home and mention him to Jacob in passing, and Jacob would nod absently, barely listening as he scrolled through patient charts on his iPad. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, Nathan and I ended up working late. Everyone else had gone home. We were reviewing some ad layouts for a new client when the lights flickered during a thunderstorm. The building made strange creaks as wind howled outside, and I remember laughing nervously, trying to make light of the moment. "This place always feels haunted at night," I joked. Nathan looked at me, smiling. "Haunted, or maybe just lonely?" I paused. It felt like a strange thing to say, but it stuck with me. That night, as we stood up to leave, he touched my arm. It was brief, a gentle squeeze, but it lingered. My heart skipped in a way I hadn't felt in years. I went home and pretended everything was normal. I climbed into bed beside my husband, who didn't even stir. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like a ghost in my own home. Over the next few weeks, Nathan and I grew closer. He confided in me about his recent breakup. I told him about my marriage in vague, careful words. He made me laugh, and I found myself looking forward to going to work, not for the job, but for him. One night, after another late meeting, he walked me to my car. It was quiet in the parking garage. I turned to thank him, and before I could stop myself, I kissed him. It was quick, impulsive, and reckless. I pulled away instantly, my face burning with shame. "I'm sorry," I whispered, fumbling with my keys. But Nathan didn't look shocked. He leaned in, placed a soft hand on my cheek, and said, "Don't apologize for what you feel." I didn't sleep that night. I watched Jacob as he slept, wondering how I got here. I loved him, I did. But I felt invisible. And in Nathan's presence, I felt alive again. It didn't stop at one kiss. Over the next few weeks, we started seeing each other outside of work. Lunch breaks turned into long coffee dates, secret texts, late-night phone calls. Eventually, we crossed the line completely. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I'd stop. But every time I tried to pull away, Nathan would draw me back in with a look, a word, a touch. I started keeping a diary. I needed a place to pour the thoughts I couldn't share with anyone else. I wrote about the guilt, the excitement, the confusion. I documented every meeting with Nathan in vivid detail. The diary became a part of me, my confessional, my escape. And then everything unraveled. One Saturday morning, I came home from a yoga class to find Jacob sitting in the living room. My diary was in his hands. I froze. "Where did you find that?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "In the bottom drawer of your vanity," he said quietly. "I wasn't looking for it. I was just trying to find your charger." I'm sorry I read it, but once I opened it, I couldn't stop. My heart dropped. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "I was going to tell you. I lied." Jacob shook his head slowly. "No, you weren't. There was so much I wanted to say. That I felt neglected. That I missed the way things used to be. That I didn't mean to fall for someone else. But none of it mattered. I had betrayed him. And nothing could undo that." Jacob moved out 2 days later. We didn't fight. We didn't scream. He was calm, detached, almost eerily so. The silence was worse than yelling. I tried to talk to Nathan, thinking maybe we could turn our secret into something real. But when I showed up at his apartment, he looked uncomfortable, distant. "I didn't mean for things to get this serious," he said. "I thought we were just helping each other through something." Helping each other? My heart shattered all over again. "I gave up my marriage," I said. He looked away. "I'm sorry." That was the last time I saw him. The weeks that followed were a blur of tears, legal paperwork, and sleepless nights. I lost weight. I stopped going out. I avoided everyone who knew me. Some friends reached out, but I couldn't bear to face their judgment, or worse, their pity. Eventually, the divorce was finalized. Jacob kept the beach house. I kept the city apartment. We didn't have children, so there was nothing to fight over. Still, it felt like something sacred had been buried. I still write in my diary. Not about Nathan, not anymore. Now I write about the silence, the guilt, the ache of realizing I had something good, something worth fighting for, and I destroyed it because I felt unloved. But love isn't always loud. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's steady and quiet. And in my hunger for more, I mistook comfort for complacency. Jacob's gone. Nathan's gone. And I'm left with pages and pages of words I wish I could erase. I learned the hard way that no affair ends clean. No secret stays hidden forever. What begins with a whisper of temptation can grow into a roar that destroys everything in its path. I craved love. I thought I needed something new, something different. But in chasing that feeling, I didn't just break my marriage. I broke myself. Now I live with the silence. And the diary. The last remaining witness to a love I had and lost.